Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is Osama Sayyid from IslamAfterAhmadiyya.com. Today, with great joy, we are interviewing a brother who recently left Ahmadiyya. His name is Khalid Jamal, and we're going to get straight into the interview today, inshallah. And I'm going to ask Brother Khalid, can you give a brief background about yourself?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Khalid Jamal Ahmad. I was born in Ahmadiyya, and my grandfather is Hafiz Jamal Ahmad in Mauritius. My father is Dawood Jamal Ahmad, and we were raised into Ahmadiyya family, which I believed in very passionately that we were truth.
Did you hold any positions in Ahmadiyya? Did you do any voluntary work?
I did a lot of voluntary work. I was in command of all the Khilafat, second Khilafat, Tahir Mirza,
Yes.
and Masoor Saab as well. Also, I trained people for every jalsa and for security training, X-ray machine.
Okay. So you're quite active, and you're happy to give your time.
Yes,
Before.
yes.
Okay.
I have given a lot of time into the Jamaat thing, because obviously we believed in it. It was very truthful.
Yeah.
So
So you're sincere Ahmadi. Yeah.
sincere Ahmadiyyat because of my grandfather
Yeah.
and my other families in Mauritius.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, how did you feel while you were in Ahmadiyya? You know, did you believe that you were in the true sect? Did you ever have any doubts? You know, even if they were small, maybe many years ago. How did you feel when you were in Ahmadiyya?
But truthfully, we believed in to be very truthful. Because I was in the security, there were a few things happened in that time, and it made me rethink certain things.
Mm-hmm.
This was something happened in 95, and then something happened in 97.
1995 and 1997.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was started to think. Then I obviously, as you were just doing duty, start doing duty, just forget about it. You kept that on the back of your head.
Yeah.
Um,
Because obviously, when you see certain events, you don't dismiss the whole belief. You say, oh, maybe there are some bad examples, isn't it?
yes,
But
yes. I mean,
nevertheless, they did remain in your mind.
yes, definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you really believe that Ahmadiyya was the true sect? Like, the true sect out of all of the Muslim sects?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, because obviously my grandfather, my father, my other families,
Yeah.
they're very strong into the Jamaat, and we
Staunch
believe them.
Ahmadis, yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
and yes, definitely.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you, because obviously you're a very firm believer in Ahmadiyya, you may know that many Ahmadis, they find it so difficult to read anything against Mirza Ghulam because, they have so many barriers up. What led you to research the claim of Mirza Ghulam, to actually find out if he really is a genuine prophet of Allah?
Actually, what happened is I was inviting one of my friends into the Jamaat. They gave me some literature to read.
Yes.
Then after a week or so, he asked me, have I read any Mirza Saab's books? And then obviously I said no, because all of them were in Urdu,
Yes.
which I can't read Urdu.
Yes.
Then he presented me some reference, and which were really shocked me, and I could not believe this could be from his books.
Yeah.
And then I looked up the reference, not just me, then I asked someone else as well.
Yeah.
I got the references from 4 different places, and not in the same country. Obviously, they were in a different part of the world. So same.
You mean you got them translated?
Translated.
Yeah.
Translated. Also,
yeah.
the same information if it was from the same book or not.
Yes.
And information came from Dubai, came from Malaysia, came from Canada.
Yes.
Even came from Guardian.
Yes, that's very thorough. Yeah.
Make sure it was the same reference.
Yes.
And it was.
Yes, mashallah, that's very, very careful of you, because it's very, you can't believe that the man who is claiming to be a prophet, claiming to be, sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, could have written these sort of things. So I understand you are very, very cautious.
Very, because if I have to present this to someone, I wanted to make sure anything that I have is got to be solid proof.
Yes.
And the problem in the Jamaat, no one reads his books.
Nobody reads these
No one
books.
reads his books.
Yeah, Mirza Ghulam's books, yeah.
Even him says, if you don't read my books 3 times,
yes,
I worry about you.
Yeah, your faith is in doubt. Yeah.
Your faith in is doubt.
Yeah.
Even the members, you give information or offer them references, they don't even want to look at it.
Yeah, so I think many people have experienced that, unfortunately. They don't even want to look at the page.
No page, even the book.
Yeah.
They say, no, it could be forged.
Yeah.
And
this is their prophet's book. I mean, it's not, it's meant to be something that you're learning from Mirza Ghulam. Because what did he bring but his books? So if the Ahmadis not going to read his books, then what's the point of Mirza Ghulam, isn't it? So it's a bit odd not to read.
Exactly. And I think they should read it, and they will find the truth.
Inshallah they will. Inshallah, I hope they will. I wanted to ask you, what kind of things have you found in your research?
Well, in my research, and was one obviously has Mirza Sahib has said very disgusting things about Hazrat Isa, Hazrat Maryam,
Prophet Jesus, yes.
And her mother. Then he said a lot of things about a different faith people.
Yes.
And the Islam is a peace-loving religion.
Yes.
But this man, he doesn't want peace.
Yes.
And I don't understand. He doesn't understand the meaning of Islam.
Yes.
And all he wanted, as the British wanted, is rule and divide.
Yeah, to divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer.
Yeah, so you can control the country. Yeah.
And what he has done, he has written very naughty things about other faith people.
Yes. And
said a lot of disgusting things, which I believe to be a prophet, even be a pious man, or even a normal human being, will not write certain things what he has written.
Yeah. Very low level, very, very low level. Yeah.
Very low level. The problem also is that when you show this information to certain people, or when you speak to them, they said, one, you can't read Urdu. Second is that you misunderstand.
Out of context, for
out of context you have done or read this.
Yes. Or the Urdu is too complicated for you. And I think many people have heard these very same excuses. And the people who are saying it still haven't actually read that page themselves.
Exactly.
They haven't read it themselves, which is quite shocking, isn't it?
Exactly.
You think, what right do they have to say such a thing? I wanted to ask you, what specific things I think maybe you might struggle to state them on a recording, but for our listeners, I mean, do you have any sort of even general things that shocked you that Mirza wrote about Prophet Jesus?
Very simple thing is, if you ask someone to do pray for you or do a dua for you,
yes,
any kind of a pious man who you meet, but Mirza Sahib has gone and charged person a lot of money at that time
for dua.
Mm-hmm. And I can't understand how can this holy man, we call so holy man, could do things like that.
He was quite centered around money, unfortunately.
He only was centered around, he only thought about money, nothing but money.
Yeah. I mean, for example, even with the money that he took for the 50 volumes of Rawhani Khaza'in, but then he ended up giving 5 volumes after, 23 years, I think, or 24 years?
Exactly.
And he said that the only difference is a 0 between the 5 and 50. And yeah, that was quite ridiculous. So it's showing that everything's about money for him. But I wanted to ask you, I know you might struggle to actually repeat the things that Mirza wrote about Prophet Jesus. I know if you don't want to say it, I know, just say I don't want to say it, because I know some things are very bad, they're very despicable. But if there's a general sort of thing, you can just elaborate on that.
I think on air, I think it would be pretty disgusting.
Yeah.
To say certain things, because
what are they in relation to? What's he talking about? Is he talking about? What's he talking about? The general subject, at least, so our listeners can sort of understand what really led you to just, leave Ahmadiyya.
What he's saying about Hazrat Isa,
yes,
that Hazrat Maryam,
yes,
and her mother and her grandmother,
yeah,
were in the trade, the oldest trade on this earth.
Selling flesh, selling their own flesh.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this is unbelievable that even we believe to be our prophet and so-called prophet is going around saying things like that.
Yes. No, that's absolutely disgraceful. I mean, I think our listeners do understand, when we say selling their flesh, unfortunately in some places in every country, there are, unfortunately, very bad women who, sell their flesh, and so obviously this is what Mirza Ghulam, he has written that, say the Maryam's family, certain members of her family were engaging in this filthy trade, if we can call it that. We're trying to be as polite as possible, because we don't want to insult Sayyidina Isa or Sayyidina Maryam, but we're just trying to give the listeners, trying to give you guys a taste or just a bit of an understanding of how bad it is and how bad Mirza Ghulam wrote these things, how awful they are, that even our interviewee here, Mr. Khalid Jamal, he can't even reiterate them for you because it's very offensive. I wanted to ask you, how did you feel while you were researching? Did you feel that maybe you were starting to get some light, you were actually really getting somewhere, you're actually starting to find out some truths? Or were you worried, were you scared of just, what am I going to do if I find out that Ahmadiyya is wrong? Were you feeling any of these feelings? Were you confident and that you just tawakkul ala Allah, you're putting your trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Yes, the first reference someone gave me, and I was a bit hesitant, and I said it could be lie.
Yeah.
Yes, then you rely on your Allah.
Yes.
And I start looking into it. When you start looking into it, yes, it made you really feel very low and disgusted, because you've been in this group
your whole life. And yeah, obviously you thought it was the true path. Yes.
When you started looking into it, it made you feel so disgusting.
Yes.
And you can't believe that this is your own group. And this is the man that we're supposed to believe, so-called to be a certain level.
Yes.
Me personally, I think he was the lowest.
Very low, yeah.
And I hope the Jamaat people, or they do look into it. And the problem also is that because of you give them reference, people ask for it. People just say, "Oh, forget it. This is just a lie."
Yes.
It's just a lie. It's just a made-up lie.
These are pre-prepared. I mean, it's like most Ahmadis have these excuses ready. I don't know who teaches them, but if they're honest with themselves, they actually need to realize that they all have similar excuses, but they actually don't read anything.
Yes, it's very true, because everyone they talk to, they seems to have this barrier that he is clean.
Yes.
And unfortunately, you will find his writings
Far from clean.
far from clean.
Yes.
If the only thing is, sometimes we have to swallow the bitter pill, and then we have to swallow it, because if you want the truth, if you want the true Islam, you have to swallow something.
Acknowledge it's the truth. It's the reality.
It's the reality and the truth.
Yeah.
And this is what we want. We want the truth. We want the truth reality.
Yes.
Not something everyone is forceful.
Yeah. You don't want a false reality. You don't want to be tricking yourself that you are following the true Islam.
Yep. True.
Yeah, exactly. Because the truth sets you free, like everybody says. So, from what I understood from you, your turning point was obviously the writings that Mirza wrote about Prophet Jesus, alayhi salam. And obviously you've probably heard the excuse that some Ahmadis present, which is, oh no, these writings were by the opponents of Mirza Ghulam. They wrote this, they're saying that, or opponents of Islam saying this about Jesus. But obviously we all know that Mirza Ghulam actually wrote these things, and he even insulted other religions. We know also the Hindus, he insulted them, and even respected people like Abu Huraira. He called him a ghabi. I'm sure you're very aware of that. I mean, what sort of person writes that? That's that sort of thing. And even Sayyidina Hussein, Imam Hussein, he's even insulted him. So that's even insulting the Shias as well as the normal Sunni Muslims as well. So yeah, it's not very surprising. Next, I wanted to ask you, when did you completely stop believing that Mirza Ghulam was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala?
Well, actually, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I believe it was the 25th of October, 2013.
2013 or 2012?
13.
13. So,
13.
Okay, because we've just, so about 1 year and a bit, okay.
Then I thought, now this guy is not clean as everyone makes out to be.
Yeah.
So I really start looking into his information, and got his information translated from various people.
Yeah.
And the more you look for it, the more you find.
It's just never ending almost, isn't it?
Never ending information that he has not said any good thing.
Yeah.
I will give you a very simple example. In the conditions of bath, number 4. If you look at that condition, I hope the listeners look up number 4 and look up some writing of Mirza Sahib. You will find he hasn't acknowledged any of them himself. Not one.
The 4th condition, I think it was in relation to not
harm anyone.
Yeah.
With their physical or with their mouth, tongue, anything.
Yeah.
And he has done everything.
Yeah. We know obviously that he has insulted many people.
Many people.
He's written many la'nats. I mean, I think you've seen it where he's written 1,000 la'nats in one of his books. He's called certain people walad haram, haramzada, these sort of filthy insults. So that's right there that he's actually defied his own condition. He's defeated it actually. What is your opinion of Mirza Ghulam's character from what you have researched and after all the reading you have done? What do you think of his character now?
I think personally, he should be put into a mental hospital. Put in a mental hospital, which I think he was a mentally disturbed person.
Yeah, I think many people have said that. Yeah.
I mean, look at his information that he's given. Everything. Not a prophet. Allah hasn't sent any prophets with any illnesses.
Yes.
He had all the illnesses that you can ever think of.
Yes.
Yes, the Jamaat says he was died of this. As you know, in Pakistan, Qadian, all these countries, you can pay someone off to give you the forged documents.
Yeah.
He died in Lahore. The government of Lahore, if they knew the illness that he died from,
Yes.
he would not be able to be removed from Lahore.
Yeah.
They know that. And that is a lie. So basically, from his date of birth, from the top to bottom, he's a liar.
Yeah.
From his date of birth and the time he died, all his lies. There's no truth into it.
Yeah. I mean, his death, actually, he died of vomiting and diarrhea at the same time, which if our listeners look up any medical dictionary and look up the symptoms of cholera, it says that you have a lot of diarrhea and you have a lot of vomiting, and then the person can end up dying because the body becomes so dehydrated. And this is actually what happened to Mirza Ghulam. And obviously we know that the Ahmadiyya organization, they cannot ever publicly accept that Mirza Ghulam died of cholera, because we know that he wished this on his opponents. And why would God show no mercy to his so-called prophet and let him die of cholera? And so obviously this is something that we know the Ahmadiyya organization doesn't reveal. And I think you are touching on that point now, that's what he died from. I wanted to ask you, aside from Mirza Ghulam's writings and beliefs, what events, if any, really shocked you while you were an Ahmadi?
Well, I have seen a lot of people doing namaz, without doing any wuzu.
Yes.
Which is it's not just the normal people.
Yes.
They are senior members of the community.
Yes. You've seen it with your own eyes.
This is with my own eyes.
Yes.
And this is not only through eyes. You can have it on electronic eyes, which is on the camera as well.
Yes.
And which it makes you wonder. And these are the guys that we're supposed to follow. They are supposed to be setting examples to us.
Yeah.
And yet, same as the Mirza Sahib, as I said, if you look at condition number 4, he hasn't done it himself. Now these are the office bearers, senior office bearers are doing exactly the same thing what Mirza Sahib done.
Breaking Islamic principles.
Basic principle of things.
Yeah. And Salah is is a pillar of Islam. It's one of the most sacred things we do in our life. Is ibadah of Allah. And for someone to go and do this ibadah without doing the wudu, then the Salah is batil. The Salah is not accepted at all. And for what you're saying, a senior person who is supposed to be more of an example or a role model, that's very shocking. And you've seen this.
It's
happen.
It's not just my eyes. It's recorded.
Yes.
Because we have cameras in certain places.
Yeah.
In the washrooms and so.
Yeah.
If you play back, you can see it.
Yeah.
If you want to be blind, yes, you can be blind.
Yeah, of course.
But the recording is there, and
it doesn't lie.
It doesn't lie. Yes.
Yeah. I think you mentioned before the interview in a prior time when I spoke with you, you told me that something about people who've visited somewhere, I think in England, and they had a meal, but this was put down as converted to Ahmadiyya or something like that. I don't remember the exact detail. Can you elaborate on that?
Yes, I had a friend of mine who lives in Oxford.
Yeah, okay.
He went to Qadian a few years ago.
Yeah.
And someone else was telling him a story. We do a kind of a function, whatever, invite people. There might be 10, 15 people come along, have a good meal, and have a little chat. Then they say, 20 people came, or 20 people have taken the bath.
Okay, so the people who are having dinner, they're not Ahmadis, they're just normal?
Just that they are just normal people. They haven't into the Jamaat. They don't know anything about the Jamaat. They just came, wherever.
Yes.
The offices bearers, they're just saying, these guys are. So when this gentleman, a friend of mine who came back to London, he started to question this.
Yes.
He has a problem. And, his family caused him a lot of problems.
When he mentioned this?
Did
they make it out like maybe he was lying or he shouldn't be saying it or something?
Well, he shouldn't be saying this. But
it's true.
Well, it's very true.
He's not lying.
They didn't want this kind of a truth
being exposed
to be exposed to get into other people's ears. They wanted him to be out at the mosque. If he was upstairs in a dining hall, they didn't want him there.
Yes.
So basically, they wanted to do, they didn't want him to be in a crowded area.
Yes.
So it's very sad, but it's true. Now I look back. I can't believe it. This is what was happening.
Yes. The thing is, with regards to the falsification of the number of number of people joining Ahmadiyya, I haven't seen it myself, but I have met with people who actually witnessed this sort of thing when they were in Ahmadiyya. For example, there would be like, I think they would tell me, like there would be like stalls, on high streets where they're talking to people about Ahmadiyya. And maybe their people haven't joined Ahmadiyya, they haven't joined Islam or Ahmadiyya at all. But maybe they give them some false pretense and they give them the paper and they sign it. And they take that paper and they submit it and say, this is a person who's done bay'ah. And they falsify. So that's why what you're saying, it doesn't sound out of the ordinary. If you've heard the things that I've heard and other people, even Ahmadis listening to this, they may have seen or heard this themselves, so they know we're not lying. You're not lying, I'm not lying about this point. So that was one of the shocking things. You also mentioned something to me that something that personally really just frustrated you about the death of Dr. Mahdi Ali.
Yes, which at this moment the Khilafat of the Jamaat at the moment.
Yes.
And he lied to me.
You mean Mr. Masroor?
Yes.
Masroor, okay.
Me, I take it when was listening to his khutbah. When you're listening to anyone's khutbah, you're hoping that you are listening to him and only him. You are just listening one to one.
Yes.
But he lied to me. Yes. Personally, he lied to me.
Yes.
Then he lied to the world, and he lied to the community.
Yes.
This death, unfortunate death, has nothing to do with the Jamaat or Ahmadiyyat at all. This was to do with the family arguments.
Dr. Mahdi Ali's family. He had a familial feud?
Yes.
A problem in his family? I see.
And this is nothing to do with the Ahmadi killing or Shahadat.
I believe they phrased it or they stated it as if it was a martyr. That this is another martyr because he was Ahmadi, he was killed. But you're saying, and I think you're not the first person who's mentioned this point, but you're saying that clearly it was not. He was not killed because he was an Ahmadi.
No, definitely not. No.
So just like anyone else gets killed
yes.
in Pakistan,
yes.
for example, unfortunately they get killed, for certain dunya issues. This was the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And this shocked you, frustrated you.
Yes, because he lied to me. When I was listening to his khutbah. Yeah. So I'm listening to him as one to one.
Yeah.
I take it as a personal that he lied to me personally.
Yeah. I completely understand you because Ahmadis in general, they really have a link with the Khilafah, and they really feel that the leader, who the current one is Masroor, they really feel that this man is an honest, truthful man who they would give their lives for, isn't it?
Yes.
And a lot of Ahmadis actually have more maybe love or more respect for him than they have for their own family members, or more loyalty towards him than they have to their own family members. And so obviously I understand when you say that you felt that he was speaking to you on a one-to-one basis, because you feel that this is like a higher example, isn't it?
Yes.
An honest man, a truthful man. So this is a very shocking thing for you. Some Ahmadis, they think that mullahs influence Ahmadis to leave Ahmadiyya. Were you influenced by any mullahs?
Not a bit. I think this is unfortunately, this is part of the Jamaat's thinking, is when you start looking, open your eyes and look at things, the problem with the same thing, we go back, is that we, or in the members of the Jamaat, never look at their books. When someone else presents them the references, they can't acknowledge it because they can't believe it's our books. Yes. They haven't even seen it, they haven't read it. So this is just a thing, a mind game that keeps saying is the mullah has done this. It has nothing to do with mullahs. Nothing.
Yes.
All it is if someone reads his book with an open heart, then you'll find the truth.
Yes.
Who's a liar, who's the truth. And all you need to do is open your heart and read the books.
Yes. And obviously, we know for a fact that no mullah wrote those things. Mirza Ghulam wrote those things.
That's the funny thing about it. They keep saying it's the mullah. But, okay, yes, it's the mullah who's saying it. But it's a Mirza's books.
Yes, he's just giving you that information, but he didn't make that information. He didn't write it.
No.
He's just sharing it with you. You don't blame Facebook for putting a news thing, a news feed or something like that. You go and you see what's the news, who's the news about. You don't just say the person who's given you like they say, don't shoot the messenger. Mm-hmm. So obviously in your situation, you weren't influenced by any mullahs. And just for clarification, obviously I wanted to ask you that. I wanted to ask you, were you worried about what group or sect that you were supposed to join after leaving Ahmadiyya? Were you worried about that at all?
No, I have no set at all.
Yeah.
All I believe in Rasulullah Sallallahu and 2 books.
Yes.
And that this is the very first question or the second question these people ask you. What group are you? Where are you going to go?
After you leave Ahmadiyya.
After you leaving the Ahmadiyya.
Yeah.
And you don't need anything. All you need, just follow the footsteps, follow the books, you'll be fine.
Well, Islam was sent by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a very simple religion to help human beings become better people. And obviously from our previous discussions, and I think, most people who leave Ahmadiyya in general, they feel that Mirza Ghulam complicated Islam so much, and it's actually very, very simple deen, very simple, just to make it's there to make us better people. But Mirza Ghulam, not just his writings, his own character from his writings showed that he was the opposite of a good human being. He was the very opposite of what Allah sent down to Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam for mankind. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam as a messenger to us. Why? Because he was such a lovely example. Very honest, very polite, very truthful. These are 3 things that if every human being had those 3 things, we would never have wars, we'd never have murders, thefts, anything. But Mirza Ghulam, he was the opposite of that. Definitely. And this is in line with his message, which is a very complicated version of Islam. And this is what, our listeners, because, some people, a minority, some people, they leave Ahmadiyya, unfortunately, they become atheists. Most people, alhamdulillah, they're normal Muslims and they're able to filter their Islam, remove the falsehood of Ahmadiyya, remove the false beliefs of Ahmadiyya, and have the lovely, pure Islam. And obviously some people, unfortunately, they become atheists. And we want those people who are a bit confused to realize that Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, just as for you, Brother Khalid, he is your example. Just for me, he is my example. And the Quran is our guide. And the Sunnah of Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is enough for us to be good human beings as Allah wanted us. So that when we die, we, inshallah, can go into Jannah.
Yes.
This is the simple message of Islam. Alhamdulillah, you have joined that and you've left the falsehood of Ahmadiyya. My next question would be, did you feel any pressure from people to stop you from leaving Ahmadiyya? What sort of things did they say?
Actually, it's just a certain members of family. I think it's a norm that, they're saying, remember your grandfather, who you was. So basically, it's just a blackmail
Emotional
tactics,
blackmail.
emotional blackmail tactics they try to use on you.
Yeah.
And members of family start slowly don't want to talk to you, or if they do talk to you, it's very, very cold.
It's very unfortunate.
This is the Mirza Sahib's Islam.
Yeah.
It's not the true Islam.
Yeah. Because of course you're not supposed to cut relations.
Yes.
In Islam, it's a very firm rule actually that you're not supposed to cut familial relations. And obviously in Ahmadiyya, it's not just in your situation, but many other people that I've contacted and that I know, if the minute they leave Ahmadiyya, they have lost all their Ahmadi friends, and almost all of their family members stop talking to them as well. And this is absolutely the opposite of the teaching of Islam. For example, us as Muslims now, let's say our family member became an atheist, we wouldn't say, hey, we're not talking to you anymore, you've left Islam. We wouldn't do that. You know why? And I think you know why. It's because we know that Islam is the truth, and we can talk about Islam. We can talk about the Quran. We can go to our family member and say, why did you leave Islam? They might say, oh, this verse of the Quran or something. Then we'll say, okay, let's study this verse. Why was this verse revealed? And you explain it to them. Then they say, okay, this makes complete sense. Thank you so much to me. But Ahmadiyya, they actually promote cutting off. They don't want people to discuss with you the writings of Mirza. So, Brother Khalid, as we were saying, when, for example, if somebody, which is a very rare occasion, if somebody leaves Islam, we would be able to sit with them and ask them to show us anything that they have read that they're upset with, and we can face that, because we know that Islam is the truth. But obviously, I think you probably have already seen that with Ahmadiyya and Ahmadis, if you ask them to read something, they won't read it at all, but they'll just tell you it's false.
It's true. It's certain members of the family as well, even friends. You show them references. Not just references, they even show them the book.
Yes.
Actually, the book itself, forget about making a copy of it. Even the book they were saying is forged. It's not true. It's the mullah's books.
Yeah.
But they're afraid to find something.
Yeah.
Or
acknowledge that it's false.
It's false.
Yeah.
And it's it's like one of these things is that, oh my God, if something happens, if it is true, where do I go?
Yes.
So it basically is living in a bubble wrap.
Self-protection.
Self-protection. That I want to read it, that I want to see it, but they believe it. But many, I believe, older generation, they have known this information for a long time, and they haven't passed it on to certain people, which is very, very sad.
Yeah.
Because on the day of the judgment, they will be standing in front of Allah, and yet they knew the truth, they didn't pass the message on.
That's very unfortunate. It's a big punishment for all of us if we cover falsehood and pretend that it's the truth.
Exactly.
This is mentioned in the Quran many times. You substitute truth for falsehood.
And it is very, very sad. And the funny thing is and this older generation, even the new generation, I hope, they do look into it and find the information.
Yeah.
And but you'll be amazed the information that you'll find. It'll be shocking. But some of the people I have spoken to, it seems that this kind of a language or this kind of a teaching is normal. But unfortunately, this is not Islam.
Yes.
This is the opposite to Islam. So...
I wanted to it's something that it really bugs me very much, and it bugs many of the people that I speak with, obviously who know about Ahmadiyya, that, they always, many times Ahmadis, especially higher up, people like missionaries or something, they label the Mirza's writings as allegations. Now that you've read them yourself, would you agree that they are allegations, or are they fact?
Literally fact.
Yeah.
What it is, I believe in that what they have done in their writing is written in white ink. These missionaries cannot read it themselves.
Yeah.
The thing is, there's a saying, the hand that feeds you, you don't bite it. And this is, unfortunately, this is an old missionaries thing. The missionaries have no money. The Jamaat pays all their education, travel, so and so.
There's living expenses.
Living expenses and everything.
Yeah.
So they become loyal. And even they know the truth, they bite the truth and accept whatever is coming.
They basically bury anything that they find or anything they know, just to keep their life going and keep the living expenses coming in. And
yes, it's very sad.
It's very sad and shocking, actually. You mentioned to me that you sent your letter of renunciation to an Islamic TV channel. Just curious, why did you do this?
Well, the reason why I did this is because I knew the letter would have been thrown away.
Yeah.
I would have no answer back.
Yeah.
Also, to go publicly.
Yes.
To tell people who I am, who my grandfather is. It's not one Khalid Jamal, could be few numbers of Khalids in the Jamaat. I have no idea.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to make sure that my message is loud and clear.
Yes.
So, Alhamdulillah, it has happened.
Yes.
It's not a disgrace to my family or my grandfather. Yeah. I hope, inshallah, he will be happy because, you're
following the truth.
I'm following the truth. And
yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is, up to date, you still have most people. I don't think anyone I've spoken to who's sent a letter in have actually received a response, be it from Mirza Masroor or from previous Mirza Tahir. Nobody's actually received. So that was actually a very wise move by you to have many Ahmadis, listen to your reasons why you've left, so that maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can put some hidayah in them as well, and they can be motivated, to research themselves and also join Islam and leave the falsehood of Ahmadiyya.
Definitely.
I wanted to just touch on how frustrated are you now that you know the truth about Mirza Ghulam and his organization, because obviously you spent your whole life in it, so what are your feelings, now that you realize the magnitude, the level of falsehood?
Well, it's this 52 years he's been in this Jamaat.
Yes.
And it makes you feel very sad that you've been in the Jamaat all these years. And yet you thought it was true, then you find a lot of writings which are really, really bad and non-Islamic at all.
Yes.
But the references in my letter I have given,
yes.
I hope people do look it up. And also what the Jamaat has been going around is deleting information from their books. And deleting or putting the information on different pages.
To confuse the research or the reader.
Yes, is to confuse people
yeah.
who are searching certain things. Yeah. I might have to give you a reference and you go and check it. It's not there.
Yeah.
So reality of it, you need to go and find the books, the hard copy of it.
Yeah.
Then you find the truth. Yeah. On the web, the information can be deleted or put forward, backwards.
Muddled, basically. And you
just to confuse people.
To find it. Yeah.
And they will come to us that we are lying. But my friends who know me, I have never lied to them or deceived them. Even on this, I would never do it. And so you have to follow the right path.
Yeah. How do you, the Ahmadi slogan, love for all, hatred for none? You've seen the Ahmadiyya, they do charitable works in Africa and various countries. what do you feel? Because many people I've spoken to, again, they feel that it's a big deception. That they put on this. They actually do some charitable things, and they do have humanity first. But the fact is, when you find out Mirza Ghulam's writings and you find out the truth about Mirza Ghulam, you struggle to have any respect for this organization. How do you feel about this love for all, hatred for none, and the image of Ahmadiyya? Does it represent what Mirza's writings are? Is it in line with Mirza's writings?
The people in the Jamaat, unfortunately, some of them are such a beautiful people. Yeah. They are really, really kind people, which they believe Mirza Sahib to be something special.
Yes.
But unfortunately, they haven't seen his writings.
Yeah.
The slogan and bat number 4, as I keep saying. Please, if some people look it up, you will find this is nothing. Even once Mirza Sahib has done himself, he has done opposite what he has said.
Yeah.
And for a normal human being been in this group who has been in it all the time, but he has never seen these writings, he needs to be believed. He will think it's true because he has never seen it. So every time they go to any Murabbi, missionary, they'll put the book on one side. They'll say, "What is your problem?" The book is my problem. Yeah, but okay, but let's talk about it. What is the actual problem?
Yes.
Do you have problems at home? So now what they have done is confuse the person. My home problem, I have a book problem.
Yeah.
So they will never answer you the direct questions.
Yeah. Which is extremely frustrating because, when you believe that Ahmadiyya is the truth, you'd think that you could ask anything you want.
Yes.
Bring, especially from their so-called prophets' writings. You'd think, if we take a surah of the Quran to any imam, or most Muslims actually, who can read Arabic, let's say, and ask them, "Can you read this to me?" They will not be scared or try and shut the Quran, and push you away and say, "Hey, don't show me that." But this is unfortunately the reaction that you get with not just ordinary Ahmadis, isn't it? You get it with also missionaries.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they would never answer yes or no question. If you need the answer in 2 words, yes or no, they will never answer it. Never.
Do you feel sometimes they present a question back to you? Because I think we've experienced that, many of us.
Yes, they will fire back with a question.
Yeah.
But they will never answer your question directly, yes or no.
Yeah.
But they will never do it. And
this is, unfortunately, the listeners can understand that this is a sign of someone who is hiding the truth or lying when they don't. When you show them or you ask them a question, they can't answer it. And in Islam, we know that we're supposed to qulu qawlan sadidan, say the straightforward word. If someone asks you something, be straightforward. Don't be snaky with them. Don't go around and round. Say the straightforward word. Which unfortunately, we have the extensive reading we have done about Mirza Ghulam's writings. We found that many things that Mirza Ghulam writes are written in a snaky way, but in the end you realize what he's trying to say.
Yes.
And he's always got like a back door open to try and escape. But we know what he's written, and we've presented it, of course. And I'm sure you've read a lot more things than just the Prophet Jesus writings as well. A really big help for our listeners is this next question: is what message do you have for Ahmadis in general?
I think the general really is for the new generation. The new generation is for them to understand, open their heart, understand the information. The youngsters here, the problem with them is that they're going to ask this information to one of Murabbis, missionaries. They'll be flopped off, saying it's okay, it's not for you to know yet. Next time. So this generation needs to understand where are they going.
Yeah.
Open the books, can't read them. That's the only reason the Jamaat has not published his book in English.
Yes.
It is because of the writings and the wording that he has used on all different faith people. I don't think you will find any other religion books.
Yeah.
So for these youngsters, they need to open the book, open their heart, really open their heart and look at the information.
Yeah.
But open it with a biased mind, not because of him or whatever. Just open it and look at it very carefully.
Unbiased. You want them to be
Unbiased.
impartial,
Sorry.
just be in the middle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you will find the truth. You will find the truth that not a normal human being will ever do things like that. What Mirza has said in his writings.
Yeah. And obviously, by reading and by finding these references to be true, it will actually be very clear to them that Ahmadiyya is false, and they will know obviously what to do with that information now, and inshallah obviously they will find peace. The Ahmadis, the young Ahmadis, what do you have? The young Ahmadis who are seeking truth, because I think there are broadly, you've got the people who seek truth, and then you've got the Ahmadis in general who are not seekers of truth. They just think they are the true, true sect, let's say. But you've got the ones who are truth seekers, and they're really, really, they want to know the truth. I know it's going to be, I think, you'd probably agree that they're going to find it very difficult with their families. We're not here pretending. We know it's going to be very difficult. I mean, you're going to suffer. Everybody suffers with their families because the family is so firmly Ahmadi that they will not acknowledge or accept what you're trying to say. So obviously, we want to inshallah we want to inspire the young Ahmadis who are truth seekers. We want to give them some confidence. We want to tell them that inshallah when they find the truth, they will have peace. How peaceful do you feel now that you know the truth?
I feel very, very peaceful. And, that's basically what they do. You're going to be all of your ties going to be cut off, your friends, your family. So you're going to end up in a depression. So basically, you need to be very strong. You need to be prepared. If you are going to look into the information, you're going to find this information is going to be upsetting you.
Yeah.
Mentally. Also, it could be physically as well. Then obviously the family is going to put a lot of pressure on you. And but at the end of the day, you have to believe in Allah and give you strength. Families will come and go as well. But when you get underneath, when you are being buried, then there is no answer in front of Allah. So for these youngsters, I think it's sometimes you can understand it will be difficult for them. They're only youngsters. And suddenly they're not working. They have to rely on mum and dad, family. So this is what happens. Is like, if they are looking for a truth, then obviously, will help you. You're looking for truth, Allah will help you to look for the truth.
Yes.
And He'll give you strength. I know, we are human, we are weak, but you need to be strong.
Yeah.
Hold on to that rope very strongly. You'll be all right.
How about the young Ahmadis? What would you... I mean, we both know, what sort of advice we would give them. But for example, let's say a young Ahmadi who is a truth seeker. I think you would probably advise them to stop any sort of thing such as marriage, or any sort of, long-term decisions until they find out the truth of Ahmadiyya. What do you think? Would you agree with that?
Oh, definitely. Because I think if you're in the age of going into marriage, my humble request would be for them to look into it, do your research, because when you're married into the group or the cult, it will be very difficult. It will be very difficult to someone if they want to leave
Yes.
Then you have your wife and other family as well.
Maybe even children.
Or even our children.
Yeah.
So, me personally advice to them is look into it very carefully. And you have problems understanding certain things, other people can help you. Look into it very carefully.
Yeah.
So,
and obviously they should, as we always believe, alhamdulillah, ourselves, that the akhirah is worth much more than the dunya, much more than not upsetting your mother or your uncle, your grandfather. The akhirah, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will judge us.
The thing is, and the reason why do we go to, for our namaz?
Yeah.
No one takes me to the mosque. I want to go there to pray. Yeah. You want to go to the mosque, no one holds your hand, go to the mosque. We want to go, we want to please our Lord. So it's the same thing. You give charity, you go to Hajj, you do things. For who?
Yeah.
For please Allah. This is the same thing. You need to think about your akhirat. And you're only going to get once. When you get underneath, when you have been buried, you have no chance. And also will happen is this information, what you are going to see and what you are going to hear will be your witnesses.
Yes.
So be careful. Please look into it, search into it before you get into marriage. That goes in both ways, girl and the boy.
Yes.
Well,
yes. Very, very, very strong advice and very important advice there. That could actually help. It could be the turning point, isn't it? If for somebody leaving or not leaving, if they have, children or a wife, they have so much pressure on them not to leave. And so obviously this is very, very strong advice from you. And inshallah, our listeners can heed it if it's relevant to their life. I wanted to thank you so much, Brother Khalid Jamal. It's very commendable of you that you've publicized your renunciation of Ahmadiyya. Very commendable that you sent your letter to an Islamic channel. Very commendable that you've agreed to do this interview today. Today it's the 4th, I believe it's the 4th of January 2015. So for all the listeners, this is on record. It's the 4th of January 2015. And the interview was with Brother Khalid Jamal, who has left Ahmadiyya. And I want to say together, La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah. Brother Khalid Jamal has 100% left Ahmadiyya and he is simply a Muslim. I want to say thank you very much, Jazakallah.
My pleasure.
This is Osama Sayyid from IslamAfterAhmadiyya.com saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.